Chapter 3, The Rules of Homonyms. I am the only student in my class who's interested in homonyms. This suggests to me that most kids are not interested in homonyms, so if you want to skip this chapter, it's all right. Miss Barlow's not skipping it. But if you read it, then you might get interested in homonyms. If you are not interested in homonyms at all, stop reading here and skip to chapter 4. Miss Barlow's not skipping to chapter 4. Homonyms can be surprising and fun, and that's why I started a list of them. The list is very long. Right now, it takes up 4 sheets of paper. The words are in alphabetical order. I try to leave space between the pairs and trios of homonyms so that I can add new ones to the list easily. But if the spaces have gotten used up and I've thought of another set of homonyms, then I have to rewrite the list from that point on. Sometimes this makes me cry because I have to write the words perfectly without making any mistakes. If I make a mistake, I have to start over. Josh Bartell, who is a 4-foot 10-inch boy in my classroom, said to me last week, "Rose, just keep the list in your computer. Then you can add in new words whenever you want. The computer will make spaces for you. You won't have to keep rewriting the list." But my father and I do not have a computer, or a cell phone, or a digital camera, or an iPod, or a DVD player. My father says those things are expensive and unnecessary. He says we can't afford them, and who needs them anyway? In this chapter, I'm going to tell you about my rules for homonyms. But since I've realized that most kids aren't any more interested in rules than they are in homonyms, that's funny, I'll tell you something fun about homonyms first. Then I'll get to the rules. And if you're still interested, you can keep reading. We're going to keep reading. What's fun about homonyms is hearing a word in a sentence and suddenly realizing that it has a homonym, or maybe 2 or 3. But that's so rare that I don't often think about homonym quartets, and that you haven't thought of that homonym pair or trio before. For instance, yesterday, Uncle Weldon said to me, "Look how carefully Rain chews her food." And just like that, I had a new pair of homonyms to add to my list. Uncle Weldon and I were sitting at my kitchen table, when he said that, and I jumped out of my chair and said, "Oh, choose and choose. That's a new homonym pair." Uncle Weldon gets excited about homonyms too, so he said, "Wonderful, Rose. Go find your list. Let's see if there's room for 2 more words." While I was getting the list out of my backpack, I thought about the word chew and how it rhymes with the word brew. And I ran back to Uncle Weldon. I began to shout again, "And also there's bruise and bruise." Oh, that's a really good pair. 2 new pairs to add to my list. This is almost a red letter day. Oh, there's that red letter day again. Did you figure out what it meant? So, in conclusion, this is what's fun about homonyms. If you've heard enough about homonyms and you don't want to learn my rules, stop reading here and skip to chapter 4. We're not skipping. Now, here are my rules of homonyms. It's important to have rules because without them, you could get overwhelmed thinking of words that sound alike. Your list would be pages and pages long. The purpose of most of my rules is to limit homonyms to words that are pure and also that are English. Rose Howard's rules of homonyms. 1. A true pair or trio of homonyms includes no proper nouns. A proper noun names a particular person or place or thing, such as Josh Bartell or Hatford or Rice Krispies cereal. I thought about including the words coax and Harold on my list, but coax and Harold are proper nouns, not pure words. Including proper nouns would make my list way too long. Luckily, Rose and Rain are proper nouns and regular nouns, so I was able to include them on my list. 2. A true pair or trio of homonyms includes no foreign words. I put the words peak and peak on my list, but I do not put pique, P-I-Q-U-E, for a trio because pique is a word of French origin. Including foreign words on my list would become very difficult because I don't know all the languages. 3. A true pair or trio of homonyms includes no contractions. Isle and aisle are on my list, but I didn't add aisle because it's actually a contraction for the words I will. Therefore, it doesn't count as a pure word. Besides, I is a proper noun. 4. A true pair or trio of homonyms includes no abbreviated words. I did not add ink and ink to my list because ink is short for incorporated, which is clearly not a homonym for ink. 5. A true pair or trio of homonyms includes only words that sound exactly alike. Since wine and wine do not sound exactly alike, they are not on my list. Neither are hall and hull. I guess that's enough about homonyms for now. You probably want to get on with my story anyway. So now it's time for me to introduce the next main character to you. The next main character is my father, Wesley Howard. Oh, one more fun thing about homonyms. The word pair implies two, but it is a part of a homonym trio: pair, pair, and pair.